Welcome back, everybody. Well, how well do you know the person you are sleeping next to? You might think you found the perfect catch, but what happens when they turn out to be someone you least expected? Have a look at this. Sydney socialite Simon Lowe was everything a woman could dream of. He was charming, sophisticated and handsome, with a high-profile list of celebrity exes. But he was also a monster. In 2007, in Sydney's eastern suburbs, a woman was lured in and fell victim to rape, abuse and torture for almost a year. 2 years later, Lowe's Playboy facade came crashing down. He was found guilty of sexual assault causing grievous bodily harm and was sentenced to 12 years in prison. Over in the courtroom, one woman sat quietly, watching in horror as she realised this was exactly her story. Well, Kate Schubach is that woman and she is here with us now to tell her story. Kate, good morning. Tell us, when did you first meet Simon Lowe?
I met Simon at the end of 2003, but importantly for me it was when I was just turning 40.
Mm-hmm. And why was that an important age for you?
Well, I had been in a steady relationship for 4 years and I really wanted a baby, and the guy I was with was really sitting on the fence about that, and had been for some time. So what was happening to me was this welling up of an emptiness inside of me that I didn't even realise.
Biological desire.
Yeah.
So what did Simon promise you?
He promised me the world. He just waltzed into my life like a white knight and said that he was going to be the most amazing father. We'd whirl through New York together. We'd have a house in the Sunshine Coast with horses and dogs and, of course, beautiful babies.
So he painted a picture, really, of the perfect life.
Very carefully. He was a very good storyteller.
In the book, you actually compared the relationship to the act of jaywalking, but you didn't think you'd end up getting hit by a bus. What did you mean by that?
Well, when I met him, I just kind of dipped my toe in the water and thought, well, I'll just text him and we'll go out for a coffee. And, you know, it was the beginning of me being naughty because I was with someone. But then Simon just came in and he just swept me off my feet. So the jaywalking, you know, I thought I was not doing anything too bad, but he's, you know, knocked me over.
So, Kate, it was idyllic in the beginning, but what were the warning signs to you? What did you sort of pick up on that made you start thinking, this guy really isn't what I thought he was?
There are a few things. He was a rapid cycler in that he would flip from moods really quickly. So first he was just charming, he was the life of the party, everyone noticed him wherever we walked, like all the eyes were on him. But then he'd turn, I could see something come over his eyes, and then he'd yell at me in public, blame me for everything. I was just on the back foot all the time.
So sort of psychological abuse at that time.
Yes.
What about the physical abuse? When did that start?
He was yelling at me more and more and really coming in and baring his teeth, and that was very frightening. And then he would like screech my car around corners and I'd just be in a panic the whole time. And then first he threw me out of my apartment nude, picked me up like a feather, threw me out, something had snapped him, threw me out, slammed the door, and I was in the lobby of my apartment block without any clothes on. A fellow came in to see if I was all right. Simon flung open the door, screamed at him, dragged me back inside. So he was always like creating a scene and then coming to the rescue.
Right. Did you tell anyone, Kay? Did you tell anyone what was going on?
It happened very quickly. So at the beginning, I was very bewildered. That's his MO in a way. He'd turn you upside down all the time. I didn't know what was going on. And then I was very ashamed because I'd blown up a relationship to be with him. I'd already polarised some friends. It was within a week I started to see these cracks, but he already had his hooks in.
So when did you realise that you had to get out of the relationship?
When he tried to kill me, that was the absolute turning point. But I could see that I was getting more and more out of my depth and in just beginning to panic, but I didn't know where to go. I did go to the police, but that was like a red rag to a bull. And then finally he sat on my back in my apartment and tried to smother me, and I screamed as loud as I've ever screamed in my life and no one came. And so I thought, come on girl, you've got to fight for yourself here.
So you did eventually get out of the relationship. What was your reaction when you found out that Simon had been caught by other women?
I went into hiding straight away, and then I went to live in Asia, so scorched as I was by him. And then when I came back, a friend said, well, Simon's up to his old tricks, and I heard that he'd actually assaulted and raped another woman, and she was taking him to court. She eventually dropped those charges. I got on with my life, and then in 2009 I heard that another woman had been terribly assaulted and raped by him, and that was when I went to the court case and to see, well, the police contacted me actually to see if I would testify against him.
Right. And Kay, what was that like for you attending the court hearing?
Oh, it was, I thought I'd be all right. I thought it would be challenging, but when I saw him walk through that door at the back of the court, he still had so much power. And when they took the handcuffs from him, he actually went like that and went to shoot a girl who was sitting next to me, who was a court reporter, who made that movement. The terrible power he has.
And how did you feel, you know, listening to another victim's story? Did you feel guilt that you hadn't come forward?
I really struggled with my guilt for a long time, that I wasn't brave enough to take him to court. And in fact, I was so terrified by him, I just wanted to get away. But that played on me. I started writing everything down that had happened, and so that was how the book was born. And then when I thought that I had a book, I thought, well, this is how I can, in a way, kind of redeem myself or atone for other women being hurt because I didn't stop him.
Yeah, exactly. And you have written the book now, A Perfect Stranger, it's called, which is a very revealing insight into that relationship. I started reading it last night, and it's quite difficult to put down. I think a lot of women have also been in that situation, so you know, it's taken a while, but I think good on you for coming forward and telling your story.
Thanks.
Thank you, Kay. Cheers.